Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, and welcome to another Candid Conversation. I am your girl, Lady T, and we are here live every Tuesday, 5 p.m. on Oak 93.5 on your FM dial. I have my hostess with the mostest with me today. I have with me
It's your
JT.
girl JT.
That's right. And our special host
JT,
every second and fourth Tuesday, Tony G is
two
in the
and four.
house.
Hello. How you doing? The second and
That's right, y'all. We are excited. We hope that you all can hear us once again. We are trying something new, something different, some innovative technology here. So y'all just bear with us. But hopefully you all can hear us. Don't forget to click like and share. We are back again because last week we had an awesome conversation going on about elderly care. Not only that, elderly care, we were talking about caregivers and just things in general. And you all y'all were so involved. Y'all communicated with us even in our DM. Y'all wanted more. We had people that wanted to share more. And so guess what? We're back for
We're
part
back.
two of how and what to do caring for your elderly loved ones or family members and those that are working in the field, such as myself, Tony G. He's worked in the field as well. And and then JT, she's working in the field. Per se as well. So we all can speak on it. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about pick up where we left off with elderly care and caring for your loved ones, and also how to become a POA, guardianship, things like that, things that are very necessary in this day and time in this climate in which we are in. Because one thing's for sure, two things is for certain: we are all getting older as long as we live. So,
Yes.
and those of us that still have parents and loved ones, they're getting older, and we just want to kind of share some information, and we want you all to tune in. You can put your questions in the comment section. We are on YouTube this week, we're on Instagram, and we are here live on Facebook. So again, click like and share and join us in on the conversation. Jen, I think it's good if I know last week when we kind of ended, we had so much information that we really couldn't complete it, finish it all, like we said, but we wanted to kind of touch on the caregivers, right? A little bit this week.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think it's an important conversation to have because last week we talked about advocating for
Yes.
our elderly, whether it's a loved one or a friend of the family, but being their voice because sometimes as you get older, you know, whether it's you don't understand the technology, which is where a lot of healthcare is pushing people to, or
Yes.
you know you are in a place where you cannot communicate for yourself, you need somebody to be your voice. And so as Tanisha said, you guys were phenomenal in the comments. You were like very loud in all of our DMs, the text messages that we got post show about what about the caregiver. And so, as
Yes.
we were talking about those who advocate for the elderly, then a conversation, came about what about caregivers? And, we started to talk about what about when the caregivers need care? And when we
Mm-hmm.
think about a caregiver, we think about, a caregiver being that someone who helps another person with their daily needs. And typically with a caregiver, they're not getting any type of compensation. They're doing this, out of the sheer love that they have for that person, whether it's
Yes.
a child that was born with special needs, that parent, has the purpose in their heart to advocate for their child. We talked about advocating for the elderly, but for that child that has special needs, you've got to advocate for the handicapped as well, whatever
That's
that
right.
looks like. And
That's
if
right.
you have the bandwidth to keep your child in the home, in particular when they become an adult, whether they're functioning or maybe where they're not functioning, there are times where the caregiver needs some care too. And so, we've got the perspective of, parents who are taking care of children who have special needs.
Yes.
And then we've also got, as we opened the show with, aging parents.
Yes.
When our parents, when their health begins to decline, whether it's physical or mental, or or whatever that health decline looks like, where they've gotten that diagnosis, where it's going to require a lot. They're no longer independent.
Right.
It's a lot on the caregiver. So again, today we want to hear from you. You're the best part of our audience. Oak 93.5 FM, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live. We want to hear from you. We want to hear
That's
from,
right.
those who are who are caregivers. We want to hear, what your thoughts are on, the caregivers that need care. Tony?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Tony, you've been working in care home care for some time.
Oh man, yes, and I've been a CNA since '03. Been a med aid for quite a few years now.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what I found since being in the business, we don't find a lot of male who take
No,
interest in it, but but it's good. Like I have male clients
no.
who are, and they want particularly a male to be in that field. So I think it's awesome that you do that, because a lot of men, we don't find it, one, and two, it's great because we need you guys. So in
Yeah.
your field, do you find it hard? Like if you're working in a facility with someone, do you find what are your challenges like being a male working with I'm gonna say it's a mixture of male and female in there, but I find there's more female in those
Yeah, it's
facilities.
more than female.
Yeah.
A lot of them, especially when they're up in age, the fact of a man washing them and cleaning them is
Yeah.
a huge change. And a lot of times,
Yeah.
I'll wait until I have to switch that person out with a female, another CNA. But then some
Right.
be like, I don't care, I'm dirty, come wash me, come clean me.
Right. Right.
You know? But a lot of them too, when I first started out, I ain't gonna say you break them down, but they learn to trust you. You break down them walls, like
Right.
'cause when you're a caregiver, if it's in you to do, it comes off really different. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It's different. It's true. They say you just here for a job, and then some are here really for the people, and they can sense that. Like I had a lady one time, and I never forget it. She was a white lady,
Mm-hmm.
and no, I don't need your help. No, no, no. And before I left there, she said, I don't know what I would do without you. I've had to
Uh-huh.
wash her, I had to clean her up, get off the floor. Because they really can sense when you coming in genuinely,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the biggest challenge, is getting them to trust you. Because
Yeah.
they got man, you watching and all that. It's hard for them to
Yeah.
do that. Let you do
Yeah.
it. Mm-hmm.
And that's really
Yeah.
important as far as getting them to trust you. I agree with that, and to let them know that you really do care. You're there. You genuinely
Right.
care for them. That's so key. When
Right.
I hire people, I try to. It's hard. It's like you try to find someone with the same spirit that you have, the same
Yeah.
energy. That it's just hard because some people are there for the check. So again,
Yeah,
and
and it shows.
and it has a lot to do with us as caregivers in the field, and then as far as being caregivers for our loved ones. You've seen elderly in your own family, I guess. Have you ever had to attend to anybody in your family before
My
that close?
grandma, she
Did you
had. I
really?
mean, I think that's what prepared me for working. No, well, yeah, because she had dementia,
Right.
and we didn't know that's what it was at first. I just know she would go in cycles talking. If I'm
She would
there
go in
8 hours,
cycles.
yeah, if I'm there 8 hours with her, Mama going in cycles talking. I'm like, wait, Mama, you just said this. But you
Right.
just roll with it, because you really talk. You just roll with where they at. You roll with it. You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
don't try to correct them, because that's where
Mm-hmm.
they're at. You're gonna cause a problem when you start doing that. But
Yeah.
that was my first at the house. She was probably
Right.
my
So you.
only at the house. Yes.
Oh, right,
And
right. And that's
eventually,
that's a good point you made, because I have dealt with working with working with elderly in the independent living facility, it looks a little different than nursing homes. But to your point, you start seeing people memory leaving, like you thinking like, didn't we just say that, or did you just repeat that? Before you know what they actually have, right? Because dementia is a big thing now, and before you realize that something's going on, she just saw an elephant out her window. They saw a zebra. She asking me, did you see the zebra? And it's better for you to kind of go with the flow. Their loved ones be like coming in there, no, zebra in there, just going off. And I'm like, no, so it's best for people to learn the disease of dementia and Alzheimer's. You know what I'm saying? Like, do the study, Google it, go to YouTube University and learn about that thing, because it looks different. It looks different. You automatically want to say, no, you ain't see granddaddy last night, mom. He's been dead for 25 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. And, so it behooves you and people and us in general, because when I was younger, I didn't hear so much dementia and Alzheimer's. I just didn't hear a lot of it, right? We didn't hear about it.
I never heard it.
Running. Yeah, I did not. I never heard a bunch. And now it's like running rapid. I mean, it's like, so it behooves us to study for that. Study and learn. What'd you say, Tom? Did you say something, Tony? No? Okay. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, allowing them to actually still do what they can do. Yeah, oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, Tony.
Oh, Lord.
No, we can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I was saying, like, and allowing them to still do the parts that they can do. Because a lot of people, they take away the little independence that they still have left.
Yes,
like
that's very important.
They can still brush their teeth. Let them brush their teeth. They can still they can put their shirt on and not their pants. Let them put their shirt on.
That's so true.
And you help them with their pants, but let them keep what independence they can keep.
As much independence.
You actually help them go down faster by doing everything for them.
Yeah.
And that's something I can't stand when I'm at work. Yeah. Let them do what they can do. And it keeps them with their dignity too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, I appreciate you guys sharing your perspective as people who are paid, caregivers, because, it takes a lot of love and compassion to care for someone else's loved one, even though it comes with a check. It's not a really big check when you think about what you have to do, because you get an emotional attachment to people. So that takes a lot of love and compassion. But, we want to hear from you all in the comments. What about family caregivers that don't get compensated, but you do it because of the love that you have for your loved one? We definitely want to hear from you. So again, please share in the comments your experiences, any resources. We want you to tap in to this candid conversation about when caregivers need care.
Yes. And Jen, I want you to speak on that as far as when caregivers need care. I know that y'all know me, right? So people, I have my friends who tell me, you need to slow down. You need to, when I first started this business in general, I was team everything. Yes, I was hands on everything. I was every woman. But with this type of work, it is different. You really have to stop and listen to your body. You really have to, you want to be everything for everybody. You want to, especially people that their family isn't present. So you want to be that person. You want to just be everything to everybody. So I had an experience and where I had to kind of slow down, right? A little bit, but I still love on my people and do what I can. But it is so important for the caregiver to care for themselves, because we're no good to anyone. Just like people use as an example, when you get on the flight and the flight attendant stands up there and they be like, before you put that mask on yourself in the case of emergency, before you put it on anyone else, put it on yourself, because you're not going to be any help to your child or to somebody else if you aren't breathing or you don't have the oxygen. Woo, child. So listen, I had learned the hard way, but you can speak on that, right? I think you can touch on that.
I think when it's like what Tony said. If it's something that is in you, there's certain attributes that, certain people have. If it's in you to help people, then I think you can easily transition to being a caregiver. I think that also when you're caregiving, you get in autopilot mode. You respond to whatever comes up that particular day. But sometimes, the stress of whatever situation presents itself or the or feeling overwhelmed,
Yes.
and at times having no relief, that can cause a caregiver to get burnt out. And it doesn't take long, in particular when you're a person that already has a pretty busy and full life, and your life gets disrupted because of whatever is happening, throughout the course of the day. And I think that's for people who are dealing with, recent events or maybe short-term events. But then there are people who have who deal with long-term caregiving, and it's a situation that either gets progressively worse, and so then therefore your life has to change, because you have to change your life and sacrifice. I mean, that's a strong word, but you have to sacrifice things in your life to be a caregiver, in particular if it's for a family member or somebody that you love, that you're advocating for. Because, like for me, I have adult children, so I don't have to be home at a certain time and make sure my kids are fed. I can kind of just go and come as I please. Whereas if I was having to take care of someone full time, you revert back into that mode of being very regimented. But then your life has to change because you've got other things that you have going on, and you don't know if you can fulfill certain obligations because you're responding to the needs of that person. So I would say being in a very high stress environment, can cause a caregiver to have experienced burnout.
That's so true. That's so true. What could we, and I wish, let's see, Gloria says, I'm recovering from caregiving. I would do it all over again for my family. I just happen to know that Angel, and that's what she is. I just happen to know her personally, and she gave everything she had to care for her sister, until her final days. And I've seen her do it more than once. And she's careless. I mean, just a giving person, and just loved caring for her, and did everything for her until she was no longer here. So I know that what she says in the comments is to be true. And that is a beautiful thing. And to her point, even being that caregiver, being there 24/7 for your loved one, you have to take time to take care of yourself. You have to, if it's nothing but to go into the park for a couple of hours, you have to find something to digress from all of that. It's heavy. It's a heavy load caring for somebody, especially when that person can't do anything for themselves. It's different when you're getting paid to do it. You know what I'm saying? And even with getting paid, in my particular, specifically me speaking on what I do, it doesn't compare. It's not enough money to do. It's not enough. I mean, really, to do, because I do extra.
It's
I do pro bono.
The mental strain it takes on you. You can't get paid for that.
You cannot. I promise you. Yes, it's a lot. So
I don't get so much physical, but mentally,
Yes. And it's hard. How some people say, don't take the work home with you. It's almost impossible when you know that you have a person there, and it's almost impossible not to take. Well, for me, not to take the work home. I mean, I had cameras in some of my residents' place, and I'm like, at 4:00 in the morning, I'm on there like, are you okay? I'm like, look, girl. So I get it. I do. And again, as a caregiver, you have to take time out for yourself. That's like, if I don't stress anything else, you really do. You sometimes, as women, we think we're superwoman, right? We can do everything and all things because we're built for that. We're nurturers, and but take it from me. Take some time. Go get a massage. Get your nails done. You have to stop and take a break and get away and get out. Even a little 2-day vacation. Get a respite. Get some help. It's a set. What do you do when you have family members who don't assist with that care? You know what I'm saying? You have a sick loved one in your family, and they have children, but they don't want to be a part of it. And they have siblings. They don't want to be a part of it. What do you do? What does a caregiver do in that situation? All of the weight is on that one person.
I think honestly, that's it, right? And I think, in just different examples that, we've seen in our respective personal lives, in particular with y'all being in an environment where you're paid to be a caregiver. And as you said, the emotional and the mental stress is more taxing than anything physically. Research shows that the emotional and physical demands of being a caregiver can cause stress, burnout, isolation. Some caregivers feel guilty because They feel like their expectations are unrealistic, and they can't, because they're not getting any support, that they can't be met. Oftentimes it's said that they feel frustrated, which leads to stress eating, sometimes substance abuse, and sometimes they lose their temper because they're frustrated with the situation. And
Right.
and I think a lot of those things are coupled with the fact that they just feel like they don't have any support, and the weight of being a caregiver has completely fallen on them, totally. So it's an unfortunate situation. But to answer your direct question, Tanisha, I don't think you can make people care. If you're a caregiver because you care, but you can't make people care. If you have a sick loved one and and their family, whether it's a child, a spouse, or what have you, has no interest in contributing to that person's care, you can't make a person do.
That's true. That's true. But I
I wonder
think,
what makes them not.
what'd you say, Tony?
I was saying, I wonder what makes them not want to do.
I think
If
it's
someone
different
is sick,
dynamics.
it's something there sometimes that makes them. I look at people that works, and I'll be wondering, how do you? I don't think you. Some people. I don't think everyone is raised to appreciate the elderly, or even the disabled, or because when you got to be that person's arms and legs, you got to be their eyes. Sometimes you got to be their everything, and I don't think a
Right.
lot of times people are taught to really reverence when someone gets in that position. Like, okay, they're still a person,
Right.
so
Right.
you need, you still got to treat them as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? To that point, I don't mean to interrupt you, but when you said something really important about there, you said what makes a person not want to attribute, or what makes a person not want to contribute. What I found in the last couple of years is that we better be careful about how we treat people along the way. Because we're going to get older, right? And if you have children
Yeah,
and you're not doing right by them, let's
right,
just say, you're not doing right by them, mom or dad, or you weren't in their
right.
lives per se, or all they know is that they were with grandma and mom, and you never really took care of me, and you really that comes back to bite you sometime.
It
I've seen
does.
it, and it makes me like gas, but then I have to think about it. You don't know the history of you don't know their history. You know what I'm saying? And not to make it right or wrong, but it could come back to bite you. Like, I know somebody with a whole bunch of children, right? About 15, 12, 13 kids or whatever, and they need a kidney. Now, not one child has come up to volunteer for that service, but it's only because of how they were treated when they, by the parent. So I find
Yes.
that now we're getting older, and these kids who you treated a certain kind of way, or you weren't in their lives, and you didn't provide, or you were that type of parent, it comes back to bite. Like, they don't come visit, they don't call, and I call them and they like, oh, well, do what y'all got to do. So it comes back. It comes back. It's unfortunate, but it's true. So to
It's
your
true.
point, that is sometimes why people don't care, and it's sad.
Yeah, I agree with
Very
that.
sad.
I know of an example of a husband who was not kind to his wife at all. And when he was in his full strength, when he was younger, he had the money, he had the women, and he expected his wife just to sit there and be dutiful. And then life came. He got old and
Hmm.
he needed care that his children were not able to provide, and who can financially afford, were not, they washed their hands of him. And so
Wow.
and I don't want to use the term stuck, because that's a little tough, but the one who is taking care of him is the one who promised to be there for better or worse. And it's very difficult, and it takes a lot of forgiveness to be like,
Yes. Yes.
you didn't necessarily do right by me, but I'm still going to do right by you by taking care of you even until the end,
Yes. Yes.
but I do hold that, there needs to be, when you see what you got to walk in forgiveness, you got to walk in love, you got to get outside of yourself, because that person is still a person.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
in particular, if it's your family, you got to step up and be concerned, and I want to shout out my sister, Jackie. She's not
Woo-hoo.
with me today, But when I tell you she is a caregiver to the core, she looks after our youngest sister. She looks after the elderly. She is like the super girl, super woman, the She-Ra.
Yes.
Everybody is good. So I just want to send a special shout out to my sister Jackie. She is
Shout
awesome.
out, Jackie. That's awesome.
And so we have a comment for our faithful viewer, Miss Earlene, who writes here, I agree with Lady T. No one has time to help. With family, family needs to know what's needed for that person and needs that care. Everyone doesn't have to have money. Everyone doesn't have to have patience. Everyone cannot be made to do so. The weight should not fall on one. So that's true answer to all if yes. So hopefully I said that right. But no, you're right. The answer, the situation of caring for a person can't fall on just one person.
Right.
And I will say this, right? And I think I can say this from a place of strength. I believe that in certain families, and I think it's true maybe for all families, so this is a broad statement, there's always that one person in a family that is everybody's go-to. And so everybody, and I don't want to use the word, dump. So I'll use the word defer. Everybody defers everything to that one person. And that one person is a catch-all. So
that is true. I agree. They defer.
And these people need a relief. And yet everybody, again, selfishly, you're busy doing your own thing. You never go back and think about that person who is being there for everybody, and that person gets burnt out, and that person is stressed, and that person needs a break. And when that person takes a break, people are like, well, what's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? Like, why are you no longer doing? They need a break.
They need a break. I mean, seriously. And that's really important. And I wish it was I wish it was a way that we could just say, that a number that people could call to get that said break, or is that another business idea I might be coming up with? I don't know. Another LLC.
But didn't we tell you to slow down at the top of the call?
I'm just thinking, wheels are turning. So I just think that it'll be a great idea to have something for the caregiver. I'm thinking.
Well,
respite, Linda's a good one. Linda will be good. Yes. Linda said, I definitely know about being a caregiver. I do it for my beautiful special daughter. Yes. She's totally dependent care. I have been her caregiver from birth. Even now as an adult, I understand both sides of this. Yes, you do. I thank God that I'm able to care for her in my home. It definitely gets hard sometimes. I thank God for her father. He cares for her every other weekend. Give mom time for herself. And she also travels back and forth to help care for her elderly mother all the way to Georgia. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. We love this topic because it's to help somebody. And Linda is another one. Oh my goodness. I know personally over the last 30 years, her daughter is 24/7 care, and she's a 24/7, 365 mother that cares for her daughter. And thank God she has a father, which is just as active in her life. I mean, literally takes her every other weekend. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't happen often. You don't get, she has a father that takes her every other weekend and gives her mom a break. That's like so commendable. And kudos to him. Kudos to both of you guys, because I know, Linda, what you do, and I know the kind of care you give, and that is your child, and you don't ever complain, ever. And that's a blessing. Akia, Janet, can you see that one?
Yes, Akia. Hi, Akia. That's my girl. She writes, care for the caregiver is essential. Caregivers need help and extended services. There are some companies that provide care for times when you cannot. Some companies provide this too. Check your benefits. Oh, thank you for that resource. That's really good. So that at work, check your benefits package to see if they offer some type of respite care so that you can take a break.
That's good.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
So I wonder when people do they really go extra hard with keeping, and they may burn themselves out, but they don't want to put them in a facility. So even if they got to do it by themselves, they go as hard as they can at the house because they just don't want to put them in a place, in a facility.
Yes.
And I understand.
I get it.
What'd you say?
I said,
We
I
can
do this.
understand too some of the places we hit on that last week. You know, you really want to really want to pay attention to where if you have to, because everybody can't tend to their loved ones full time in the home. We know that. It is no slight if you can't. Just be
No.
very cautious and just be involved in their care if they're outside the home in one of those facilities, because you just want to do that. So just for the same reasons what we already spoke about, is because everybody's heart isn't in it, and everybody doesn't mean your loved ones well. And we've talked about putting cameras in your places where when you put your loved ones in those places.
Yeah.
You know, not to always catch the worker. Sometimes it's the residents that we talked about that last week. So
Yeah.
you know, because you know there are some good workers. There really are, and there are some
Absolutely.
good places. You just
Yeah.
have to do your due diligence
Yeah.
to find said places. You know,
Yeah.
but if you could
Because
take care of your loved ones
sometimes
at home, Tony?
okay, sometimes they at home, and I know you want to keep them at the house, but sometimes they be doing more harm keeping them at home because they can't fully do, but they don't want to put them in the home, you know, in a facility. But
Yeah.
you be going over there like, yo, I know you trying, but they ain't even really getting the care they need to get at
That's
home.
it.
At home? Oh
That is a
wow!
hard
Yeah.
thing. Because when we put my grandma in the facility, it was hard but everybody was working, and then nobody really could do the care we could used to do for her. And it was a
Right.
hard thing on us to put her in there. Well,
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
but we
Yeah.
couldn't contribute like we used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my mama knew y'all loved her. Yes, she
Oh man,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
She knew. And then y'all were present when you do, and you do have to make the decision to put them there. Just be present, like we
Yeah.
said before. Being present
Yeah.
is big.
Yeah, and I just wanted to go back, you know, because I think about my aunt Erlene, who commented in the comments. Hey, Auntie, my mother's sister. You know, she honestly, she's that person in our family who is kind of the catch-all. You know, when my grandmother was living, you know, she made sure that everything was, you know, good with my grandmother with her
Oh wow.
business. And again, my grandmother was independent. She
Yeah.
roller skated up until the Tuesday before she left here. You know,
Wow.
listen, this personality you see right here, I get it from Marie White. Okay. But she's very vivacious, very vibrant. And so, you know, one of the things that I appreciated about my aunt was she never took my grandmother's independence, you know, and my grandmother would acquiesce and, you know, let her do a lot of things. She would make a little sidebar comment about it, but she allowed her to do it because she needed the help. But then my aunt got pulled in another direction with, you know, caring for her siblings, and then sometimes, you know, trying to, you know, care for, you know, my cousins and my siblings at times. So, you know, it's a lot being that one person that has to be literally the catch-all while you have your own family, you have your own career, and you're trying to live your life. You know, a person only has but so much bandwidth, which is why it's important that the caregivers take some time to care for themselves. And with all this life that's going on, you've got to take a step back and be intentional about taking care of your physical health and your mental health, because you don't want to break, because if you're not good, then you're no good to nobody.
That's so true. No good to, that's it right there. That's key. That is so key. Kay's Corner, she said respite is so important. What'd you say, Tony?
Yes. And then don't feel guilty for taking a break from your loved one. It doesn't mean you're doing something bad. You know, you ain't doing nothing bad. You're just replenishing yourself.
Yes.
So you can come back and then be all you can be to that person.
Yes. That's right. Yes. That's right.
But they go Arlene.
Our Arlene is in there. And so, and like my mom is that person with our family. You know, she did the same thing for my aunt, her sisters, when she was diagnosed with cancer and things like that. So yeah, you have to, you know, and sometimes as the family members, you kind of forget that there is one family member who this pressure is really on, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of like, because they look like they're handling that thing so well, and they got it together, you know. We like, okay, we going on this life as normal, but really we have to take time out if we're children, and if there's a problem that we had with our parent and before they got sick, maybe it's that time for forgiveness. It's that time to really, you know what I'm saying? It's no time like the present. You don't want them to leave. Well, I wouldn't want them to leave being unforgiving or having that in their heart. And you don't want them to leave to never be able to say, I forgive you. And even if they don't ask for forgiveness, it's not for them, it's for you. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
It's for you. So
Yeah.
I agree with that. Sometimes it's hard. It's hard sometimes, but we gotta do it, y'all.
Yeah.
Because once they're gone, they're gone.
They're
Once
gone.
death is final, so final. Except for
Yes.
those of us that's gonna live again, but that's another service. But
Tanisha,
yeah,
you said
yes,
something earlier. You talked about your aunt who had cancer. I
yes,
think that we have seen examples where sometimes because the caregiver is not taking care of themselves, that once their assignment with caring for that person is over, something happens with them where they get sick because their body has been in such a high stress mode that they didn't take the time to take care of themselves. Can y'all speak on situations that maybe you've seen where the caregiver ends up having to need care because they stretched maybe a little too thin?
yes, yes, yes. And I know of more than one situation where a caregiver, after giving years of care to their loved ones, more than one situation that they have been diagnosed. And I mean, I just don't want to say everything is cancer is a diagnosis for everyone, but in more cases than a few, that's been the case. They never really checked on themselves, and then for some reason they got diagnosed with cancer. They're after their loved ones and things. Sometimes it's silent, and it's you're not taking care of yourself, so you don't know. And now your loved one is gone. Now here's your help. I mean, I know several situations. Even I don't know if it's because that when they lose their loved one, the body reacts a certain type of way. There may be some type of grieving that triggers something. I don't know what's all these cells and going on here, but I know more than one situation, even of late, where someone was diagnosed with some very terminal illnesses after caring for all these years for that loved one. So it's no joke. It's not cliche. We're not just saying it just to say it. It's really important. Even speaking from personal, without getting deep, even with something that happened with me, you know what I'm saying? Like after years of just going like a rope, just going like an energizer body. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're knocked on your feet for something. You're like,
Yeah.
whoa, I never saw that coming. I
Yeah.
never, so it's
And it may
real.
not be
It's
all of
real.
a sudden.
Huh?
Like we miss them small signs. Sometimes it's not all of a sudden.
True,
You
true.
really
We
you miss
ignore
them
it.
small signs of because you steady going, and even if
So
you like
true.
you speak caring for somebody and caring for them, and then you
Yeah.
catch it when it's stage 4, you catch it when your diabetes is sure enough out of whack. But
You're right,
had you been
Tony.
getting them checks regularly, you would have caught
Yup.
it before.
Yup.
But
We so
you be in
busy.
that focus mode of taking care of whatever you take, your business
Yup.
basically.
Yes.
Yeah, but guys, it's easier said than done because when you're in go mode, and
Yes.
again, you're caring for someone who cannot care for themselves, you're not thinking about you. You're thinking, I have to do. And so, your adrenaline is high,
Yeah.
you're just in crisis response mode, like 24/7. You can't even sleep well because your mind is still thinking about the events of the day or whatever it is that happened that you witnessed. And so it's a lot, and so being a caregiver is not for the faint. I think Tanisha said that they are superheroes, and
And unsung.
I hope that they absolutely are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean,
Yes.
even if you think about the word caregivers, you have to care in order to be a giver of your time, to love on somebody, advocate and take care of them,
Yeah.
so that they're okay, in particular when they can't advocate for themselves.
Yes, so true. That's so true. And a lot of
Yes.
recently I had one of my residents, he's gonna be 104 this year. And recently we go and look, and he's in an independent facility. So we go to check and give him his medication. He's not there. So independent, you're gone. Where are you? You're independent. We don't have a locked facility. You can go where you want to go. So come to find out, he walked away from the facility, and thank goodness, thank God that he was located. It was at a hospital, but we found him. But at 104, you got to understand the mind isn't the same. Things are slipping, and it's bad that it had to have it had something major like this. Well, it wasn't too bad, but it was bad enough. He got missed, and he was all the way on another side of town, but he was okay, and he was found. But you got to know your loved ones getting older, their minds are slipping. Things, just pay attention to them, and then they're gonna start trying to be very, they don't want you to see some things anyway. They're gonna try to cover it, but it's just up to us. Just even as a child, as a sister, as a friend, if the person's getting older, pay attention attention to the changes and what they're doing, and it may be time for a family meeting, you know what I'm saying? And that to become it. And again, a subject that we don't like to talk about is the wheels, having wheels and things in place. Not that, we all have a date with destiny, right? We have a reservation that we're going to keep. So it just behooves us, even at our tender ages, once again, Tony, we have to be prepared so that our loved ones, won't be burdened, and not per se burdened, but just be prepared. Preparation is so key. It is so key.
Yeah.
I went to a training, and one of the things, and another thing I want to talk about is palliative care, and hospice care. Okay. I'm not sure if people are aware of what those two things are, but it's at a time when your loved one, it may be at a point where doctors think they can't do anything else, but you want to bring mom home, or or these are the final stages of what they consider it as. That's something to look into as well. But don't wait till they're in that condition to try to get these paperwork done. Don't wait to that condition to try to get life insurance. Don't wait until then to think that you're going to get someone with dementia to sign you over as a beneficiary on their checking or savings account. Don't wait till then. Time is now. Those are so important. I'm dealing with a situation where a family, the resident passed away, and she didn't leave a beneficiary on her accounts. And those accounts, now they have to use their money to hire lawyers, which is to get her money out. Just preparation. Preparation is key. Taking care of yourself as a caregiver is key. One other thing I have found out, a meeting that we had, they took a poll, right? And we had a palliative care group come, we had a hospice care group come, and they wanted to talk about what having care for both of these people, both types of people, what was the biggest complaint or the biggest conversation of someone that was in that care, right? The senior that was in palliative care or in hospice care. One of the things that, and they took a poll, and it was 5 things that these seniors said. One thing they said, they wish they hadn't dedicated so much of their life to working so hard. This is somebody in their final stages, and this is one thing. So this is another thing for us. Right. This is one thing, another thing for us to think about. And in the poll, most of the residents or the people who were passing and leaving, that's one thing they said. Number 2, they said they wish they had lived the life they wanted to live, the way they wanted to live it, and not how others expected them to behave. These are people in their final stages and things that they said that they wish they could change. One of them, another poll said, I regret losing touch with so many of my friends. They said when they look back over their lives, it was a surprising number of people who said that they didn't have, they had friendships before and they just lost touch, especially after COVID. Like they said that after COVID, it's just like everything fell off and they couldn't get themselves back to life how they knew it before COVID, which that's really important. I was a little shocked, but at the same time, I get it, because a lot of time COVID put us in the house so long and just made, especially in different areas like North Carolina, we were in, but then you go to New York, they were in, like, don't you come out, you get locked up type of in, So I get it. Number 4, they said they wish they'd been brave enough to express their feelings more. So, hey, think about it, y'all. And the last thing, which was high on the list, is they wish I'd let myself be happier. Oh, wow. They said, one lady said, yeah, isn't that deep? Right. So that's just some things that a poll that was taken when they're talking through these people again in their final stages, in the ending of their lives, and things that they found it was too late to do, but very important for us who are still here to think about and consider. And we still have time for change. And I think forgiveness is a big key. I think that's a really big key for a lot of people and a lot of families. That's my piece. Yeah. You see Terry's comment?
Yeah, Terry writes, hey, ladies, I can relate to this topic very well. I took care of my mother alone for a year, and there are 12 of us. It's a lot of stress, and it wears you down. I remember Bishop Wooden saying, honor thy mother and thy father, that your days may be long upon this earth. And that's what kept me going. Wow.
No, that's awesome.
That is beautiful.
That's the word.
He didn't say they were good or bad. He just say honor them.
Come on here.
That's good.
Come on here.
That's right.
That's me.
That's right.
We have to do what we're supposed to do, regardless of how they treated you. That's the word.
That's a hard thing to fight.
It is.
That's very, very true.
Yeah,
it is.
So Tanisha, you touched on a couple of things, but the thing that really stuck out to me, because that was kind of like a slap in the face for me, is work. The person said that they wish that they hadn't worked so hard. And I think it's important to work hard, but I think it's also making sure that you have time to enjoy that which you've worked for.
Yes.
And because sometimes we give our life's work to institutions that really don't care.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
best of our years. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
And you
Making
talk,
companies money.
yeah, I'm sorry. And you also talked about having some paperwork in order. We've got Erlene in the comments that says, I was in the legal field for over 30 years, and I'm well aware of what a lot of people should be doing at this point. But some of them are not interested because they think that they still have time. Our family and as people of color, we need to get our things in order before any of these things come to pass. That is
Woo!
such a true statement.
Can we lock that comment in? Because that's that right there. That's all facts. I'm
No
sorry.
go.
I'm sorry, but even down to like life insurance. I mean, I'm just using it. I'm just having to use it because I just see so many people raising money for life insurance and things like that, y'all. And it's not that expensive. That's a sore spot with me because we've even had guests on our show to tell people how to get it reasonable, how to get it even if they have conditions already. Just get some life insurance. I'm just saying that's another demographic of people. This is how they get money. This is how they get rich. A lot of them getting money left from their it's generational money coming in. They get these big life insurance policies. They take care of their families. Well, here we go. We want to go fund me for $10,000 for a $12,000 funeral, or we want to just cremate somebody and think it's going to be $50, and we just gonna burn them and keep it moving. Come on, y'all. We got to do better. We got to do better. We know better. We got to do better.
Yeah.
Anita Boss said, "Hey, beautifuls. My mom takes care of my 95-year-old grandmother, and we try to always give her a break. Most of my foreclosures are minorities that have not planned."
Ouch.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. That's it. And that's all. If nothing else comes across,
have not planned. Plan to go into foreclosure. There's no planning.
Oh,
yeah. Foreclosure, losing their houses, losing, and people losing. If you've been in a house that you mortgaged for 30 years and you 15 years in and you lose that house, or you 20.
That's bad right there. Yeah.
And I wish Anita, I don't know if you could speak on this, but there is like a some type of insured thing that you could put on your mortgage, that if you do pass away and the house is in your name, that it pays off or something. I think it's a lot of times it's lack of knowledge that people are not knowledgeable. I missed her. Unfortunately, we as people don't have insurance and a will. That's true.
Yeah. And she came back to answer your question. She said, yes, there is such a policy that will pay in the event of your death. Your house will be paid off. It's just a matter of paying that extra $20 a month when you get the house.
That's it. It's not, it's worth it. Yeah. I think it's worth it, so sometimes it's lack of knowledge. We don't want, I want me a duplex, but I don't want y'all to have to lose your house for me to get there. I want me a duplex. I'm into this. I'm trying to flip some houses and stuff like that. Okay. Number of GoFundMe are unacceptable. That's from Kay's Corner. I agree.
I like that
more
comment
business.
right there.
More business.
But and again, it's not judging anybody.
Okay.
But it is. I'm always amazed when I see people who have these GoFundMes up, who I know personally. I'm like, but you drive a Mercedes. Like, I'm not understanding, right? Because when you're thinking, when everything about you screams luxury except for your personal affairs, this is a judgmental comment.
It's a judgment.
That's a judgment. It's problematic.
I'm standing on that. For real. It's a problem. I'm sorry.
We have to have our affairs in order. I like what you said. We have a reservation that we all have to keep.
No, that's it.
There has to be some planning, something.
And even for your children. The biggest number of parents who don't have their children insured is alarming as well. Like car accidents. We're not speaking damnation on anybody, but we know that we all have. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta insure. You gotta insure them. The children, the teenagers, the young adults. It's important. But anyway,
it is.
And, Anita says, absolutely. We say a lack of knowledge, but we Google everything else. We like to drive and look the part and don't have it.
That part.
You better preach. That's
and
true.
Listen, and no, you're not done.
No, we need that. But you speak truth. You speak the truth.
Have insurance
Yes.
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 Auntie
Oh,
Erlene says she signed many foreclosure orders, driving a Range Rover, child support delinquency, etc., but cannot afford insurance. My
that's a
goodness.
listen. We talk.
People.
You cannot. And let's go back to that, right? It kind of going back to the elderly. I know when my grandparents built their house in the 60s, you know, our family took such pride in that home. And when
Yes.
you're a little girl, you're like, oh, this house is big, and then when you become an adult, you're like, oh, okay. But nevertheless, we took great pride in it because it was something that we owned on 10 acres of land. It was something that we really, really owned. And
Yeah.
I mean, that we took pride in because our grandparents owned it, right?
Yes.
But you don't want to have what grandma and grandpa worked so hard for just go away because we don't have any planning in place to take care
Right.
of these things. So
Right. Right.
planning is very important.
Right.
And so Terry writes in the comments, have a will, period. We have just enough money to bury, and that's why other minorities are so far ahead of us. They have $1 million policies, and we'll get just a little $5,000 policy. He's right.
Yep. That's what I
And
just
trying to
said.
go
He's
cheap
telling the truth.
5,000.
Yeah.
You can't even buy nobody for $5,000 anymore, barely.
Well, I'm telling you, there are people that have those policies, but they drive a Range Rover.
$5,000.
I can't
Yeah,
bury you
$10
in
a
your
month.
Range Rover. And I don't think Stephen Lyons wants your Range Rover. He wants cash. You can't Costco your casket, okay? Come on,
Right. Sam's. I'm just saying. It makes sense, y'all. So hopefully, if nothing else has been heard, inspire somebody to get some insurance. If you have a caregiver in your family and you're not that person and that person may need some help, be that person to help. Parents take care of 10 children, but 1 or 2 can't take care of one parent. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, hold on.
You speak. Yes. Lord have mercy. You speaking truth again.
Yes.
That's fact.
Yes.
That's fact.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Case
Kate,
corner.
go ahead,
Go ahead.
T.
There's a huge knowledge gap in the Black and brown community. A lot of us were not taught how to handle and stand on business, and death is your business. Okay, stand on business, and death is your business. Ensuring families' legacy is, I can't see the rest of it. Can you see
safe
it?
and protected.
Okay.
When you expire, is it necessary?
Yes.
Have
Yes.
your business in order.
Yes.
You were like a lot of times they won't talk, but you were taught to get a car. You really wasn't taught to get life insurance. You were taught, you know what I'm saying? I mean, the foundation ain't really there for you to value insurance. I ain't going front. I wasn't taught to really value. I knew my mama, well, we 40 now, but she got insurance on it. I said, well, she got it. I know that's sad to say.
You speaking truth. You speaking truth.
Got insurance on for that, and she let me know one day. I got it. You want to act the fool? I got insurance on it. So, but met me on the porch one day while coming home. But anyway, so, but
ooh, that's true though.
Comment, you wasn't really taught to have it. You just knew they had it, but you weren't taught to get life insurance. Get life insurance. But you taught to get a car, get your car, get the job, get out. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That
is very true, Tony. That's for real.
In your head, so when you get older, it's like it's not the life insurance part is not like a foundation in you to get it.
That's
you got to be taught it by somebody you may be around.
That's
you
right.
Got life insurance. Oh, for real? Like why?
Yeah, for real. Yeah. And I guess when we got older, the older we get, we learn how important it is to have it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the value of it. And the other demographics that get it, they get $1 million policies, and we don't. We want to get that basic little bitty policy, put them in. No, and that's how they stay ahead of the game. You don't believe it, but
save money with that basic. Like
right. We got to do it. You're gonna pay for that car insurance if you want to drive.
And depending on the type of car you're driving, your car insurance can be up to like $5,000 a year. So, it's about priorities and putting things into perspective. But, and again, all of that still falls back on the caregiver to make sure that that person's business is in order.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
we just have to like just cut the caregiver a little slack and just step up and be there for those who are providing care, because listen, they get tired too, and they get worn down too. And they need a little bit of a reprieve. I forgot who wrote it, but you don't have to have a bunch of money, but if you've got some care and some time, that's all a person is asking for, because they've agreed, whether consciously or subconsciously, to take on that role of being a caregiver. And listen, it ain't in everybody. Everybody can't do it. And some people should not do it, right? You don't want somebody who is not patient, who is not stable, taking care of your loved one. I mean, it's not going down.
That's right. That's right. Now that's true, Jada, because that's an important point that you just made, because it's not for everybody. We're encouraging people to help. But if you know that somebody get ready to call you the N-word, or someone get ready to, something to trigger you, and you trying to go, you may slap them. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just help. Just give a caregiver some breaks or something. But it's not for everybody. You got to be built a certain kind of way.
Yeah. The caregiver should also voice that they need a break.
They should. A
lot of times they don't. I mean, I can watch. That's true. They don't. I'm like, I've been here 7 days working. This because they show up. I'm like, okay, yeah, but you in here tired. You need a break.
Right. Right.
Or even if they're at home, voice the fact that, hey, I need a break.
I need a break.
I need a break. I just need
Auntie Arlene said, I just missed it.
Arlene came in.
She said, after a while, the caregiver won't be stable.
Right. It's true.
Right. They won't be stable, mentally, physically, or spiritually. Will not.
For real. And they be so broke down at the end of the day, after years of that. Your body, you can't take that. It's right, like you said, physically, mentally, spiritually.
Mm-hmm. And the person gone, and they broke down, and ain't nobody taking care of them.
Right. Who's gonna take care of the caregiver?
Yeah. Right. So listen. Our final comment: what's a good age to talk about death to your kids and mentioning wills and funerals, etc.? Because at 20, when my mom was sick, I didn't even know what hospice meant. I want to make sure that my kids know what the ins and outs of taking care of things when I'm gone, and know that he will be taken care of. Oh, that's good.
That is good. And that's really important. But what is the age of understanding, an age of what, they're knowledgeable enough to understand that type of stuff. Your baby boy right now, Tavante, not so ready. You call me with the info. I got you, cuz. But that's a good question. I think when they're about, I don't know, 13, but it just depends on the child, probably, in their understanding, right? Because it's nothing that they are able to do. It's going to have to be somebody if something happens, it's got to be another adult that's at least 18, because a 13-year-old is not going to be able to do anything. They're not going to get the money. It's got to be another responsible adult.
Yeah. But I'll say this, because we lost our mother so young, I think that you should have light conversations as early as you want, to let them know that, listen, mommy or daddy is going to make sure that you're taken care of. You don't have to worry for anything. And that can be at 5. And then at 13, listen, I want you to know, if anything happens to me, you're taken care of. At 18, same drill with maybe a little bit more details. But if you know that a loved one is sick, that needs to be a full-blown conversation. And listen, we and Terry Longmire writes, even with Jesus in you, it's a challenge. My cousins were life savings for me. And so, Tanisha, we actually have a guest. I know we're over our time, so our broadcast with Oak 93.5 is ended, but we are still live on Facebook Live and YouTube and Instagram. So I'm going to bring Kenyatta to the stage so that she can join in and have a conversation about being a caregiver, as we're going a little over today. Kenyatta, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Hello.
Welcome to the conversation.
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm actually Kay's Corner in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So fun to come.
Yeah, Kenyatta. That's right. Kenyatta, you've been a caregiver for some years.
About 15 years.
Wow.
Do you can you speak on anything that we have touched on today?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, we don't even have that kind of time, but everything, I mean, everything that you guys have mentioned is extremely valid and extremely important. And for me, more so from a caretaker role, like you were saying, everybody has no business being a caregiver, but it doesn't mean that they may not be able to have some level of, concern or care. They just don't need to be the one providing the care.
That's right. Hands on. That's
Because
true.
it takes a
That's a good.
different kind of person, especially when you live dealing with somebody who may have Alzheimer's or dementia. And if that's your family member, it's a very different ball game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, we appreciate that. Are you still in the field, right? Like, are you still working with elderly
Yeah,
caregiving?
I am. I focus on people who have dementia or Alzheimer's.
Oh,
hmm
okay. So did you have to have did you find that you had to get some special training to be, because dealing with a person that's sick with cancer is a different story than dealing with a person with Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yes.
Especially when they're a different race, because you could be called out your name, you could be
hmm
spit on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you speak from that?
Well, I started doing this when I was in high school. My mom is actually a CNA and she trained me. I never went to school for this. This is just something that God gave me a gift for. And I'm a people person naturally.
Hmm.
I have a master's in social work. And so it's just something I couldn't really get away from. And so just over time, working with different people, you just kind of have to it's got to be in you, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
It's got to
Oh
be
yeah.
something that's in you to do it, because everybody doesn't pay attention to people's behavior, their
That's true.
cues. And dementia patients can't tell you how they feel or what they need. You kind of have to really be in tune with that person to know what they're trying to get out, especially if they have aphasia.
Oh, that's a good point. Very good point. Right. Have you I'm not gonna ask you all these questions, but that last question, in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
field, have you found like there times when you had to act more like a family member for some of the elderly people that you've taken care of? Like you become real close to them, you become emotionally attached or involved with them. Do you find that
Absolutely.
happening a lot?
Absolutely, because most of the individuals that I've had the pleasure of caring for, I
Mm-hmm.
have them 7, 8, 9 years.
Mm,
And so over that time span, of course, they feel like family because you spend a lot of time with that individual. Sometimes you spend more time with them than their family does. Than their
yes.
family does.
Yeah.
And so you absolutely grow attachments, and they grow attachments and bonds to you. And you
Mm,
become a familiar face to them, and where somebody else may not be able to comfort them or console them or get them dressed or get them changed or
right.
help them get a shower, you can, because you've been there with them.
Right.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, yeah. Yeah, I can relate to that. It's so many when you're a caregiver, it's so many circumstances. Like while you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking about situations where the children were jealous of the caregiver,
Oh
like
yeah.
because this is real. They get
Yeah.
jealous of the caregiver because the parent has taken to this person more than the
Mhm.
children per se.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's real.
Yep. It can happen. I haven't had that happen. I've seen it happen.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Because um yeah, that jealousy thing, I don't really get that, but because it's like your mom is not who you knew her to be.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not that she loves me more than she loves you. It's just that I'm here with her more,
Yeah.
Right.
and so she just has a different level of trust for me. But she knows you. She knows who you are,
Right.
right? Because that
Right.
long term memory more so is still there than the short term memory. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It happens.
It does.
Um, and as far as I guess you don't care for you work with an agency, like
No, no private.
oh, you do
Mm-mm.
private care. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing, another option for people that have loved ones who may need extra care. There's agencies that provide private care, and then there are facilities that you can put your loved one in. So
Correct.
private care, you can keep your loved one home with you and have someone come in and attend to them there at home, full time, part time. So that's a very good option as
Mm-hmm.
well.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, y'all, thank you, Kenyatta, for joining us and
Oh, you're
coming
welcome.
in.
Thank you. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yes, very needed. I tell you, we got so much feedback from last week. We were like, we just need to go ahead and spin the block on this one. and the fact that we all have different experiences in it, and then the fact that as long as we live, everybody's getting older, right? Pastor Cooper said, I'll watch them. Well, all right. Does that mean you're gonna be a caregiver?
We're here for it. He provides that spiritual care. And that's what we need. We need a lot of that.
Amen. Amen. Yes. All right, y'all. Well, thank you again, Kenyatta, for joining us. Thank you all for who tuned in, who stayed over with us. We're at 6:07. Normally we're out of here like 5:58-ish, but the conversation was heavy and it needed to be had. Yeah. So at this time, we're going to say bye till next week, 5 p.m. Meet us back on Oak 93.5 on your FM dial. Again, thank you, Kay's Corner, Kenyatta, for joining us. Thank you all who were in the comments. Thank you, Janet. Yes. Thank you, Tony G. We'll see you, Tony, again on the 4th Tuesday. Yes. You all have a great evening. We'll see y'all next week.
All right. Bye.